Number 10. Darren and Kimberly Teen Mizokami. In September of 2018, a Wyoming married couple was visiting Samara, a town on Costa Rica's Pacific coast. Close to the Belén de Nosarita waterfall, Darren and Kimberly Teen Mizokami, both in their 40s, had decided to visit the waterfall and swim in its waters. At some point during their day out, Darren started struggling to stay afloat after jumping in the 23-foot deep pool. Seeing that her husband was in trouble, Kimberly dove in to help him. She encountered difficulty as well, and a friend who was traveling with the couple went to find rescuers. By the time she returned, Darren and Kimberly were dead in the water. Another visitor to the waterfall would report that the pool was extremely cloudy on the day, which had presumably made it difficult for the couple to assess its depth. It wasn't the first incident of its sort reported at Belén, as according to La Nación newspaper, the waterfall had claimed a woman's life in 2015. Number 9. Adrian van der Klis. On July the 17th of 2021, a Utah man was hiking in Provo Canyon near Bridal Veil Falls. At the time, 40-year-old Adrian van der Klis was accompanied by his fiance's 9-year-old son. They reached a ledge above a waterfall when van der Klis is believed to have stumbled or slipped on some loose material. He disappeared, and the boy, who wasn't hurt and hadn't seen the accident, climbed down to find his mother. The woman saw her son, who was crying but couldn't locate her fiancé, and reported him missing. A search operation was mounted involving volunteers from the Utah County Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue Division and a helicopter crew from the Utah Department of Public Safety. Shortly before 8 p.m., van der Klis's lifeless body was spotted on a near vertical slope at an elevation approximately about 5,800 feet. It's believed that he died on the spot. Waning daylight delayed the recovery operation until the following day, when his body was hoisted from the cliff. Number 8. Hannah Lowe. In October of 2019, Hannah Lowe and her boyfriend, Adam Stanaway, had climbed atop a waterfall in the Peak District, an upland area in England. The couple had shared a picnic with Lowe's mother and sister, after which they went for a walk. They sat down for a few minutes at the top of the Kinder Downfall and talked about their future together. She and Stanaway, who was a day from turning 30, were excited as they were buying their first house. Like her boyfriend, 29-year-old Lowe was an experienced hill walker. As they got up to leave, Lowe slipped and Stanaway tried to grab her, but couldn't reach her in time. The woman plummeted 60 feet towards the base of the waterfall. She suffered fatal brain injuries after her head impacted the rocks below. At the time, there was little water running over the fall to potentially cushion her drop. Number 7. Heather Fryson. A week before a tournament, volleyball player Heather Fryson suffered a nigh-fatal drop from a Hawaii waterfall. The incident occurred in February of 2016 as Fryson was hiking the Ka'au Crater Trail in Honolulu. The athlete, then in her early 20s, switched on her GoPro and got closer to a tall waterfall on the trail. As she peered over the edge, Fryson lost her footing and basically free fell 40 to 50 feet. She tried to grab onto a ridge, but the surface was extremely slippery and she continued falling. The incident was captured on her GoPro, resulting in a first-person perspective of her ordeal. The young woman struck several rocks on her way down and, severely injured, struggled to remain above water after landing in the pool. Fortunately, other hikers found her and contacted rescuers who reached her in time. Fryson was airlifted to a hospital with a broken shoulder blade, 10 broken ribs, and a collapsed lung that prevented her from breathing properly. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks, a time during which she had plates and screws surgically inserted in her body to mend the broken bones. The athlete would ultimately recover and even return to the volleyball court. A devout Christian, she referred to her ability to play without experiencing pain as a miracle in and of itself. Number 6. Tragedy at Ghana Waterfall. In March of 2017, multiple fatalities were reported at a waterfall in Kintampo, Ghana, following a storm. The waterfall was described as one of the country's most popular spots, attracting foreign visitors and locals, particularly students from several neighboring regions. It was surrounded by lush vegetation and large overhanging trees. As strong winds swept through Kintampo, one of the trees was uprooted and it collapsed into the pool, crushing numerous swimmers. Police and firefighters used chainsaws to cut through pieces of the fallen tree and recover those trapped underneath. At least 18 people died. The majority of them reported as students from the Wenchi Senior High School, while 21 others suffered injuries that required treatment at local hospitals. In the tragedy's aftermath, President Nana Akufo-Addo tweeted out his condolences to the victims' families. In February of the previous year, about a minute down the road from the waterfall, dozens perished in a devastating accident. A bus, negotiating a sharp bend, collided head-on with a tomato truck, resulting in the death of at least 60 people. Number 5. Monique Medeiros and Bruna Velasquez. In 2020, two teenagers made their way to the top of an off-limits waterfall in Salto Caveres, Lages, Brazil. Monique Medeiros and Bruna Velasquez, aged 19 and 18 respectively, had gone for a walk with a group of friends before eventually deciding to approach the precipice of the isolated waterfall. The teens, described as inseparable, then took a photo, which was subsequently uploaded on social media. At a later point, according to local police, one of the teens slipped as she was walking near the edge, and the other tried to help, but lost her balance. Velasquez and Medeiros both suffered devastating falls from nearly 100 feet, which is over twice as high as the Hollywood sign. Rescue efforts were complicated by the fact that the waterfall could only be reached by foot. Velasquez died at the scene, while Medeiros passed away in a local hospital from severe head injuries. A joint funeral was held for the teenagers in their native Lages. Number 4. Ben Street. In 2013, British backpacker Ben Street narrowly avoided dying or becoming paralyzed after falling from a waterfall during a trip to Nicaragua. 26-year-old Street was trying to climb beside the beauty spot when he took a plunge of roughly 20 feet and smashed his head on a rock. He emerged with blood pouring from gaping wounds on his head. Street was confused because there was hair in his eyes, but he'd later realized that the impact had actually pulled his scalp forward. He went to a local charity hospital where doctors treated him with 100 stitches without anesthetic and told him he'd be all right once his whiplash subsided. After 2 days spent in the hospital, Street was discharged with a soft neck brace and attempted to carry on with his holiday. However, as the pain and discomfort persisted, he and his girlfriend headed to a medical facility in the capital city of Managua to get a second opinion. It was there that X-rays and CT scans revealed he'd suffered a broken neck and a compression fracture in his spine. He was extremely fortunate, as the slightest wrong movement could have resulted in life-altering damage. Street was placed in specialized neck and back restraints for the return trip to Britain, where doctors told him it was a miracle he was still alive after the horrific fall. During his long road to recovery, he was forced to spend 5 hours in bed every day to avoid making moves that could paralyze the right side of his body. Number 3. Cheng Shi-min. A Singaporean student suffered a fatal fall in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales, Australia. In May of 2016, Cheng Shi-min, aged 29, was hiking at a trail at Empress Falls alongside her father, a family friend, and her boyfriend, Henry Yendel. While walking along the edge, Shi-min slipped and plummeted down the waterfall feet first. Yendel made his way to the base and found Shi-min floating face down in a shallow pool of water. While tumbling nearly 70 feet down the waterfall, she'd suffered severe head and chest injuries. Yendel and the woman's father pulled her to the ledge with the help of a German couple. Because of strong winds, a helicopter was unable to land and airlift Shi-min. Over the course of roughly 6 hours, rescuers carried her to safety on a stretcher over rough terrain, treating her along the way. She arrived at Westmead Hospital in critical condition. Unfortunately, in spite of extensive efforts to save her life, she eventually succumbed to her injuries. Today's topic was requested by Kate999. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Stephanie Espinoza. Mother of 3, Stephanie Espinoza from California took a fatal misstep in June of 2019 at Eagle Falls near Lake Tahoe. At the time, she was sitting in a water pool in Emerald Bay. As reported by the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, the 35-year-old had slipped as she reached for a branch and was swept over the waterfall. Her accident was initially described by the North Tahoe Fire Protection District as a selfie attempt gone wrong. They later issued a clarification as, according to Espinoza's brother, she didn't have a phone on her. From the edge where she'd gone over, the waterfall had a drop of about 150 feet, which is comparable to plunging from near the top of Paris's Arc de Triomphe. Espinosa died on impact. Number 1. Erica Leanne Tavares. Instagram influencer Erica Leanne Tavares would often treat her followers to stunning images from the exotic places that she visited, such as Iceland, the Azores, and the United Arab Emirates. On her latest adventure, she was exploring the Agua Azul waterfalls in the southern Mexican state of Chiapas alongside her boyfriend. As they were taking in the sights atop the waterfall, 23-year-old Tavares suddenly disappeared. She'd fallen through a crevice over 25 feet to the water below. Her boyfriend alerted the authorities, who spent over 12 hours looking for her. The following day, her body was found in an area of dense vegetation. A post-mortem was performed locally, and her body was prepared for transportation to her native Portugal for funeral proceedings. The cause of death wasn't made public, so the extent of her injuries remained unknown, but it's suspected that she drowned after being swept away by the current. Thanks for watching. Would you rather base jump from the top of Angel Falls or belly flop from a 20-foot waterfall without knowing the depth of the water pool beneath? Let us know in the comments section below.